Hey everybody, if you like combat sports such as Kyokushin, MMA, martial arts, K1, glory kickboxing, boxing, and ice hockey to a degree, make sure to hit the like, share, subscribe, and comment button to the Drew Experience podcast, available on YouTube and all audio platforms. We are on social media. I am on social media too. Look up Drew Experience on Facebook. Look up Drew Experience on Instagram. Make sure to like, share, because the community is only growing. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to a few supporters. First, KRT Tips and Tricks with Senseis Wesley Jensen and Darren Stringer. After that, One Kyokushin, the #1 online Kyokushin page for Kyokushin content. No matter your affiliation, it's about spreading soul-size wishes of Kyokushin. With that, So Kyokushin, Shihan Hugo Perez's association in Chateauguay, Quebec, with other dojos in Montreal, helping grow Kyokushin through the communities. And also my friends in Boucherville, Quebec, and Laval, Quebec, and Karate Boucherville and Karate Joanne Fournier under Aikyo Nakamura. If you're looking for a great dojo, I recommend them as well as Shihan Hugo Perez, because at the end of the day, everybody benefits from taking Kyokushin Karate. And lastly, Moments Management. If you're an up-and-coming MMA fighter, make sure to reach out to Nima Safapur and his team, where they will take care of you to understand the pro fight game for before, during, and after. He is the manager of Gegard Mousasi, Bellator middleweight champion, and a former UFC title challenger and now Hall of Famer Alexander Gustafsson, amongst a staple of other quality fighters. Moments Management, where quality comes first. And with that, this is the Drew Experience, the show that's 80% combat sports and 20% everything else. I'm your host, the Hebrew Hammer, aka the handsome rambling Jew, Drew. And with me today, I have royalty in Kyokushin. This guy is like a primary source of history here. He started karate at age 15. He achieved Shodan in 1988 and currently holds the rank of Godan, 5th Dan. He is an active member of the IKO Matsushima group under the supervision of Hanshi Roman Siriaju. I hope I said that right. He's been a dojo operator since 1993 and currently operates a dojo from Rishi Bukto, Dieppe, and how do I say that?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, New Brunswick, under the instruction of Sensei Louisanne Como. He's got a competitive background in as a Canadian lightweight champion, 2-time North American lightweight champion, 3 times runner-up to the legend champion Shihan Reynald Lamar, participated in the 7th World Open Karate Championships in Japan, 1999, completed a 50-man kumite in 1994, and has certified over 50 black belts and helped build a team of competitive fighters and coaches to represent Canada at world tournament events in USA, Australia, and Japan. He is the one, the only, from New Brunswick, Shihan Daniel Gaudet. Shihan, welcome.
Thank you. I didn't know you were going to put all that in, Drew. You told me, send me a couple lines and said, pick and choose what you want. Don't put it all in there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I had to. I just, at the end of the day, sometimes it's like, sometimes you just think off the cuff and you have to just enjoy it. You really just have to enjoy what you do.
Well, you love what you do. You don't just enjoy it, you love it. And I know you thank your sponsors, but I gotta thank my sponsors too there before we go on and move along. I gotta thank my sponsors too. Now, I'm a big family guy, so I gotta put my family there. These are my sponsors right there. I'm gonna show you. You see that pic?
What a beautiful family.
Right there. So you see my wife there, my beautiful wife. There's Sylvie. Yeah. And then there's my son, Sebastien. And then there's my daughters. I have 4 of them. There's Jade, and then there's Chloe in the front, and Maya in the back, and Evie on the far. And that's right or left for you. But those are my sponsors right there. That's my beautiful family. Most of them did karate. They're all active, competitive. My eldest in rugby. She's representing University of Ottawa, and I have 3 black belts. My wife and Evie and Seb, they're black belts. Chloe got up to green belt, and then she took up snowboarding, and Jade is a rock climber. These kids keep us busy. When we get to Montreal there, that once a year, the van is full packed right to the top, and we take as many as we can. We take everything up, and that's beautiful. That's fun. That's a whole lot of fun for me. And it reminds me back of, you're talking about competition. I've been competing first ever since I was 15. So basically, it would be a full van. It wouldn't be a 1-2 guy thing. We go up that full van. Back then, we could rent the 15 passengers. there's no more room. There's no more room in that van. Imagine we're teams of 10 to 12, and then plus the luggage. So when we go up to Quebec and Montreal, it would be always a family thing. So that's why these are the most important people in my life, and I appreciate them. And hats off to them.
Amazing. Like I've seen the photo you sent me of them. Like I seen like how, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together, as the saying goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And karate is the same thing. As a martial artist, it's always about who's in there and you're working together. They say that karate, oh, I joined karate because I don't like team sports. I don't like, I like the individual. Parents will tell me that. She doesn't like hockey or soccer because it's too much people. It's a team thing. But so I'll join karate. Okay, karate, you might be by yourself with your gi, but you're training with other people, right? So they're making you better, and you're looking in front of you, and you're trying to get to that spot right there, right? So it's still pushing you. It's still a team, a family unit all the time. That's why they say when you'll go into a dojo and the instructor will say, hey, we're like family now. And that's very true in itself, because you do become family, you do become close, you make great friends, and you make lifelong partners, right? So in that sense, the family unit is in that Kyokushin spirit all the time.
I need to just be honest. I think martial arts dojos do a better job of creating communities than our own politicians do. I'm just putting it out there. And Kyokushin especially. I've never seen a community like ours. Like it does, like it's so beautiful to see. That's why I just want to tell you, as I mean, like, you know, so you're like, I kind of put it out there, but like I'm gonna say it on the show. The Drew Experience is now focusing solely on Kyokushin. MMA will be there, but I think honestly I want to show why our community is beautiful, and I think it's just amazing. Like in New Brunswick. So tell me, you started competing at 15, but how did you discover Kyokushin, Shihan?
I discovered Kyokushin because at the time we had Shuriken karate in our village, and Shuriken was okay. We tried it, and then we couldn't go in anymore because they decided there's no juniors, adults only. So in hindsight, I started karate, and after the karate, I started hockey, playing hockey a little bit. I wasn't good at it, but I loved it. You know, put some skates on, try to shoot and score, and then I got into a fight in the hockey. I was defense, and a little scuffle went on there, and I accidentally punched the ref. So I got a week suspension, a week or two, and then during my time off, well, guess what? Guess what came on? There's Karate Kid that came on that year, right? The first Karate Kid. You might have seen it, but the first Karate Kid came on, and I'm practicing on that Daniel-san wax on, wax off, and blocking. And then my little brother comes home. He says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm learning those blocks and those kicking techniques. You know, wax on, wax off." So no, that's not how you do it. He said, "I went to a demonstration, and this crazy guy, he's breaking big, huge blocks of ice, breaks out a karate chop and his heel, downward heel, and you should have seen it. It was awesome." He said, and one of our friends back then, he was the only guy that saw that demonstration. I didn't see it. My brother had heard about it from our friend. So we heard about this guy, and then he says, there's a couple of guys from his school that they want to teach karate here in Baktush. I said, "And you have to come." He said, "We're doing crazy stuff there. We're doing knuckle push-ups in gravel, and we're running bare feet outside and all that stuff. So you have to try it." I said, "Okay, I'll try it. Try it out, of course." Then I go to that school, and there's two instructors, and those two instructors, and they're the one that basically started the Kyokushin here in Baktush. And at that time, the guy that was doing all those crazy ice breaks, his name is Ron Cormier. He's the icebreaker. They call him the icebreaker. And I'm just going to show you a picture of him. I got a picture of him right here. You see that man in the middle?
Yes.
He's Ron Cormier. He's the guy that brought Kyokushin to New Brunswick. And promoting that Kyokushin in New Brunswick, he would do demonstration all in the little towns. And he came down to Baktush. And my buddy, Maurice Leblanc, he was the first student of, you see the guy on your left?
Yeah, with the mustache, right?
The mustache?
Yeah.
That's Ray Cormier. That's my Shihan. He's the guy that was in Baktush. Have you met Shihan Ray?
Yes, I have. At my last tournament I met him. He met my coach, my coach, Mohammed Sheikh, introduced me to Shihan Ray. gentleman,
Oh,
such a class, such a cool guy.
absolutely. So when we got there, when I got there, I think there were 5 students.
Hmm.
Morris, Billy, my brother, and there was me, and there was 2 other new guys. And that's where it all started back in 1985. And we never stopped since. We never stopped since. My Shihan Ray, Sensei Ron would keep doing demonstrations. He was only a blue belt when he started teaching in Baktush in the old grading system, which was blue, brown, black. And all our grading, he couldn't grade us. So we had to go to Sensei Ron Cormier to get all our gradings done.
Hmm.
So everybody got into it. Our friends got into it. New students, we would get new students because we were getting noticed because of our crazy training, the crazy fighting. When the fighting kicked in there, well, homies, I couldn't believe it. This is like real, actual, like street fighting. We can kick and punch, bare feet, bare knuckle. Like we were just into it nonstop. It consumed us. And even at lower ranks, we would be at a school dance, and Sensei Ray would come up and say, "Hey, we got a tournament tomorrow morning in Fredericton. You guys want to go?" Boom, we scam out of there, sleep over in Moncton, and get right down to Fredericton the very next day for competition. We get there, and we don't have money. We're 15, we're broke. He said, "Okay, we have enough money for one student. Who wants to compete?" We were 3, right? Me and Billy and Morris. And Billy said, "I'll go." He said, "Okay." We threw him in there, that competition. It was a Taekwondo tournament. And
Really?
Billy kicked everybody's butt. He fought in the finals against a black belt Taekwondo. He's orange belt. That's like the first belt you get after white belt. And that. So anyways, so crazy stuff like that. We would go everywhere. And that's where it kind of started. And it just grew bigger and bigger and bigger every year because of this guy, Shawn American. So we owe a lot to him. Like we were kids, we could have been on the bad side of things, but he kept on us on the straight side of things. And every time we started competing, we did all the little local tournaments, Taekwondo, Kung Fu. We did all that local circuit nonstop. Every time there was something going on, he would take us there and say, "Let's go, let's train for this." By 1988, I think, Shihan Daniel his first Canadian championship. We tried that. Billy goes up, I go up, Maurice goes up. We all get there, and then I think we're brown belt at that time. We weren't Shodan yet, so I think we're brown belt at that time. First tournament, I lost my first fight to I don't remember who. Billy I think he came out third that tournament, and ever since then we were dead set that we passed Shodan, and after Shodan we were dead set every year. That Canadian championship would be ours to go and try to get, right? So that's where it became a family thing. We're talking about family. Then it became a family thing because everybody would get into it. We would get a team together. After Christmas, we ate everything. Now we got to start training. And that was our routine. Every year, that was our routine. After Christmas, we would get together Saturday mornings, 8 to 12, Sunday mornings, 8 to 12. And then we had our both karate nights there, Tuesday, Thursdays. And then either it was a night of boxing or 2 nights of weight training. We just wouldn't stop. We just kept on going straight line, straight ahead. And we tried to get those trophies, right?
Amazing. I love how you said too that like, oh, I did a Taekwondo tournament. So it was kind of like MMA before MMA, but for striking though, because it's kind of to see what traditional striking art would do good in like an actual fight. So
Absolutely.
I think and I love how you just said there, oh, like my brother was an orange belt and he just floored the black belt. And now it martial arts does depend on the person itself. But what I noticed what you said about Taekwondo is they couldn't handle that Kyokushin pressure with the leg kicks and just coming in. Do you think that's something?
They couldn't handle that pressure, but we couldn't handle pressure of the point system that, they kick us, then we lose a point. We lost matches in there, but we loved it. It was a different style. Our instructor, he was good. He knew how to put us on the spot and say, okay, you got to handle this now. You got to learn how to fight without getting caught. We learned a lot from the Taekwondo guys because there's a lot of Taekwondo guys that are very strong. You know what I mean? So it wasn't about the style. It was just about the rules and switching it up. you know. Then you go into boxing, it's only, you know, you only boxing. We took up boxing to improve our hands, but we learned through boxing that you got to keep your hands up. You know, you're going to get knocked out. The Taekwondo guys had very strong legs. Taekwondo guys are kickers, right? And that's in the past. Now they're probably all well-rounded because it evolves. But him putting us into different groups and different styles helped us build our Kyokushin, actually our Kyokushin, you know, fighting styles. So it was a benefit for us to go through all that process.
Amazing. No, it's so amazing because what I see there, because when I was listening to Valentina Shevchenko on Joe Rogan show, she spoke about, you know, being in Taekwondo, but her coach Pavel was like, okay, you're going to do a kickboxing tournament with your Taekwondo. Okay, you're going to fight against a Sanda guy. And Sanda is like a Chinese kickboxing with takedowns. So I think that's amazing that Shihan Ray was like telling you guys, okay, go to all these tournaments just to pick up what you can get from them so we can evolve it in our art.
Absolutely. And you know what? We did some Buktush brawls. We invited guys, Kung Fu guys, not Kyokushin guys, different style guys. We went into, at that point, I don't remember what they would call it, but they were big matches, which the boxing, at that time, the boxing commission would organize. And basically it was anybody that wanted to fight in the ring. So I fought a kickboxer. I lost a kickboxer, but they were all different styles. There was a Taekwondo, there was karate, there was a wrestler, there was boxers. Most of them were boxers because the boxing commission would organize it. So you would fight, most of the time it would be boxers. So imagine a Taekwondo or a karate guy that goes in there, doesn't get hit to the face, but all of a sudden he's fighting a guy that's hitting to the face. So we did 2 or 3 of those, you know, so we had all that going on all the time down here because at that time it wasn't regulated like it is today. So we had the chance to set up events like that, you know, so it would open us up to a different, you know, evolving. You want to stand up, you want to fight, stand up, it's okay, but learn how to defend yourself. Make sure you're going to protect yourself the right way, and you're fighting different kinds of guys. So when you go into Kyokushin, you see a particular style of fighting, you have to adapt, you have to adjust, right? And then you can manage yourself pretty good. So that's how we got through it there pretty good, you know. And anybody that heard about Maurice Leblanc and Billy Gaudet, if you heard about Billy Gaudet, talk to somebody, you know, like Shihan Katafar and all them. Those guys from the east to the west, you mentioned Billy Gaudet, they'll know exactly who Billy Gaudet is. That's my little brother. That you have a split that you can go 1 foot on the floor, 1 foot on the ceiling without any hesitation or any effort, right? So this guy would be like the best fighter. And he would go in there and he like you talk about showmanship there. You want to put on a show. Well, he would put on a show. It's terrible, you know, just the physical strength that he has and the flexibility that he has. He was a fun guy to watch in Montreal for sure. Everybody loved him.
Those days, though, those early days, you know, like 1988, you talk about Shihan Andre Jobert's first like tournament, and what was it like to be in those tournaments after 1988? Because you would then meet an eventual, like, he become a friend, but like, I guess you could say without the hatred, he was kind of like the Fraser to your like you were like the Fraser, he was like the Fraser to your Ali, Shihan Reynald Lamar. What was that? What was it like to first meet him and then eventually compete against him like on a lot?
You have to understand, you know, where it starts when we grade showdown in 88, right? Mm-hmm. So we go for black belt testing. Young 15-year-old, 14-year-old from New Brunswick, go up to Montreal on Sainte Catherine, you know, in front of that big forum, and you have this room filled with 150 karatekas that want to pass black belt, and we're going through that process, and you see these guys. You've been there. You see that wall. I don't know if it's still there with the showcase of all the championship belts from Shihan Dan and Reynald Lamar, and that's what you see. That's what you have in your head. We want to be that. We want to be there. We want to get there. First step is let's get our black belt. But we were still starting up the competitive mode. So we want to be champions like these guys. Those guys are the elite of the elite. So when you go to Montreal, my goodness, we have Alain Bonamy and Reynald Lamar and Sylvie Lamar and Valda and Alain Bordelot. We see these guys as way up there, and that's where we want to get. We want to be on top of that mountain. So when we start the competition era, well, okay, we don't you never imagine in your life that those are the guys you're going to fight. Maybe we don't think about that. We want to fight, compete, but we're used to competing guys our size, our age, and all that. We're just young bucks, right, getting in there. So I remember that first tournament, the second one, which would be the second one, and we basically made it. It was at the Saint Claude Robillard at that point, the second one. I think they were all there, but we were getting ready from that period of time. When we got there, our training was so crazy that we knew physically, well, we could do anything. Our cardio was up, our physical. So when we would get there, it was weigh-ins. So we had the weigh-ins. If you didn't make the weight, you had to go run. You can't just, 5 over is okay. It wouldn't be okay. It's really like the UFC, and it was right on point. If you didn't make it, go run, come back. But you're not fighting if you don't make weight. So we had to make weight. So at that time, Shihan Dan was, but he always fought the lightweight, but we were all lightweights. We had some of our team members that were middleweight and heavyweight, but we were fighting at lightweight. So that second one, I believe it was the second one, even the LDS, it was TV, French Television Sports Network at that time. They were there filming and everything.
Really?
So they were there. They had the whole camera crew there, the setup. And we fought our way up to the finals. And Shihan Lamar, this guy I was hearing in the back, I was warming up, and he 10 seconds, that was done in 10 seconds. That was done in 20 seconds. You know this guy you don't want to meet at the end of the line, right? So by the time I fight my way up there, I get to the finals. Well, we have it on tape. You can see me run around that ring, and he's chasing me around that ring. He's going around, and that was like, for me, I couldn't see myself comparing myself to this champion of champions, you know. So that first fight was right off for me. It was obvious. I had too much respect for this guy, and I was never gonna try to, get there. But in the back of our heads, yes, that's what we want. So the year following that, on the second year, I told myself, this year I'm not running. This year I'm gonna stick in there. Doesn't matter if he kills me. I'm gonna stick in there, and I'm gonna prove to him that I can at least stay in the ring without going around. So that second year for us as a team, it wasn't just for me, it was for the whole family, our whole Kyokushin New Brunswick family we're doing this for, because we worked so hard. That second year, I made my way up again through the different fights. I probably threw 3 or 4 matches, and then it's the finals again. Against Shihan Dan again, of course. But this time I'm not backing up. This time I'm going forward, and that was a great fight. I remember we had a standing ovation. It packed the place up because I had stuck with him for 3 rounds, and he kicked my butt. Hands down, this guy is amazing. He's beautiful, and that year there, that's what solidified me as a fighter, because I stayed there. For me, it wasn't me losing a match. For me, it was a win because I actually stayed there for 3 rounds. We went 2 extensions, and then they gave it to him deservingly. But we went 2 extensions, and I was so proud of that. I don't care about that 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. My goal was just to stay there with him, that whole match. And that brought us to the next year. So the next year, following that, they say, okay, this year, only 1 match with you and Renat, not going up 1 fight, 2 fight, 3 fights. So 1 match thing. We're on the poster there, and 1 match thing. Okay, so but you still have to get ready. It's a Kyokushin tournament, So when we get to Montreal, after all that work, all that family unit work there, the whole winter, when we get there, so they decided that, okay, no, it's not going to be a one thing. We're going to fight our way up again. I didn't get ready for fight all the way up again. I thought I had 1 fight to do in Montreal. So then we go all through that process of 3, 4, 5 fights, and we do end up back at the top there in the middle. And that fight there, that year there, same thing again. No, I'm not backing up. Now he may be who I am, so I'm going to stick with my guns. And again, we did 2, I think it was 2 extensions, and he won that one too. And deservingly, absolutely. But for me, I learned so much out of that competitiveness. And the year after, he wasn't retiring. I wanted that lightweight title, and he wasn't, he wasn't out yet. He wasn't out of the woods. So the following year, the year after that, the same thing. I want that title. So I was mentally preparing myself and physically to reach that top point. And again, we got there, but the thing is, I don't think besides my coach and my team, nobody ever knew this. I was injured in training. I had a back injury in the training, but I never stopped. I let it pass, and then I just kept going. And that third year, when I finally came up again, and almost I had a decision to make. I had to decide if I was going to fight Shihan Dan for that third time, and he wasn't getting any weaker. I tell you this, he wasn't getting weak at any level, at any point. So at that time, I talked with my Shihan Ray, and we decided that I wasn't going to meet him at the end because I knew it was too much of a risk for me to take with the injury that I knew I had that was going to come out. So I decided not to fight him. So I dropped out, and then he went forward and he finished that one too. And that's the year that I think he retired. So the year after that, going into it again, I did the same thing. We climbed the mountain. Then at the top of the mountain, unfortunately, he wasn't there to meet me again because he had decided to retire at that point, well deservingly. But at that year, I finally took first place. So that's where the first year first place was. And the year following that, again, the first place for the Canadian Championship. And what happened after that is we were fighting lightweight, you know. So when he decided to retire, I reached that peak finally. So then you had to find other goals, right? As a fighter, as a competitor, you had to find other goals. And at that point, we were still fighting. There was a North American Championship in Rochester, New York, which we went down, and I had won that tournament as well. And then there was other tournaments everywhere all the time. So we were always in that circuit because we had to remember at that point, it was one Kyokushin. It wasn't different organizations. It was one only organizations because Sosai was still alive.
Yeah. That's interesting though. Like, so it's crazy. Like all the times you made it, and then like it's like as if those second places just made you better for when it was your time. Finally. If you don't,
you learn from your losses. You learn from them. You don't take a loss and say no. Learn and move forward, right?
It's so true. It's so true. Like for example, Vincent me showed Senpai Vincent who when he lost like I think 2 times to Mohammed, but then he went to go won like second place for Canada under Matsushima. So it goes to show like how if you're able to learn from your losses, and then what he did was so smart. He contacted Mohammed to say, "Hey, I'm getting ready for this tournament, but I need your help now." So you learn more from your losses and from your competitors.
Absolutely. And Shihan Renal, we wouldn't see each other much, but we would see each other at the Gold Cup. He would come and support the Gold Cup, you know. He would, and the last time I talked, the last year was there, I talked to him. He said, Dan, I would love to go down to New Brunswick and train with you guys, but you know how it is, you know, with your organizations and all that. And I told him, I respect that and I understand that, and I wish you well. I wish you the best, you know. But I know that's what it is. But I'm happy to see you here. I'm happy to be here and that you can come down and support the Johan Cup and your fighters, your team of fighters. And I'm happy to see you all every time I see you. So it's not just a competitive thing. You become family. You know, I train a lot with Shihan Renal at different seminars. He was just the best. He was just the best. And not just as a karateka, as a human being, as a man, he was just the best. He was out there and he was friendly to everybody. Just like everybody else is, you know, the Katafan, the Sivilama, and the Roman Shirev, and all the Jibba. When you talk to them, they're open. The love is there, you know, and that's what you want. Doesn't matter which affiliation or who you're trained with. When you see each other, there's a big us and there's a big mutual respect there, which I love about all of you guys, you know.
I love it too. That's what I love. It's like, you know, when they see this logos I'm wearing by the way, this sweater's from Kyokushin online shop with KRT. Just got it because like they gave me free merchandise, so I got it. If you see this kanji here, doesn't matter. It's like it doesn't matter. Yeah, like so.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like, when you were coming up to now, there was also Shihan Cataford, who has like one of the records for ice breaking. Was he in the same period as when you were coming up, or was that after or before? Because like everyone kind of met each other in like the same, in that golden era of Kyokushin.
It was during, because Shihan Katafa would come in there and he would give spectacular demonstrations. Spectacular. This guy would come in there and whoa, he would, wow, everybody would just stop and watch, you know, whatever he was doing, baseball bats, cements, bases, you name it, you know, he was in there and just throwing it all out there, you know. So he had his team of fighters and all that, but he would put on those demonstrations and they were great to watch. You know, you have Andre Gilbert coming in with his Jaguar, going around the ring.
I've seen that video.
Crazy. That's just crazy, you know. So it was, the hype was so much fun. It was so, you just feel like I don't know, you're at a UFC there, at a, you know, somewhere. It's just the hype is just there without all the lights and but everything else was there. Everything else, the energy was so good. Jean Rivière fighting, we would finish our fights off there, and then we would sit down, and Marc Morier and all those great fighters, Sylvain Gagné and all them. We would sit there and we would sit back and enjoy the fights. You know, we would watch them go and wow, this is so much fun. The hype and the energy that the people have here, it was amazing for us. From New Brunswick, coming out, going over there and working on Kumite, our friends Bobby Gallon and Peter Smith, and all those guys, you know, they were great fighters. We just had a great team. And some of them, it was brown belt division, black belt, it doesn't matter. Just the energy and the level of commitment, you know, we had towards that tournament. That was just amazing. And I see the same thing now. It's different groups, you know, it's spread out, but you see the same energy when I do international tournaments, world tournaments. You see the energy that they have. You know, I'm not there, but with the gi and getting ready for a fight. But as a coach and as a leader, I'm leading my coaches to their own team and their own victories and defeats. But we learn. It's a learning process, and everybody's doing great, you know. So you have to get that ball rolling all the time. And at that time, even Alain Bonamy had done the first one, and I think he did the second tournament as well. Well, so I'm happy he decided to retire at that point and do other stuff, you know, and focus on his boxing and all that, because we would have had a real tough time with that guy too, you know. So hats off to Shihan Bonamy as well. These were legends, you know, and we looked up to them. We still do look up to them. And we just try to follow the lead. You know, they're leaders, and we're just trying to follow and do the very best that we can and get our teams ready to go up and compete. The COVID has pretty much scrapped a lot of it, but it doesn't matter. You know, there's no time set. When you're ready, you're ready. And when we're ready to get the ball rolling, Sean Dominic is getting the ball ready for 2023. Let's give us a point to focus on, and then let's start training for that.
Exactly.
That's what we need to do. We need to have something to motivate ourselves just to do the training, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we want. Bottom line, that's what we want.
Exactly.
But to come again to Shihan Lamar, you know, and his legacy, and just a super human being. That guy, I bonded with that guy right away. You know, as soon as that fight's over. So to do that 3-4 times, years in a row, to have that experience and that level of you know, championship in front of you and actually facing that, he taught me a lot about how to be, you know, as a person and as a teacher as well. But that guy was amazing. I love him.
Amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. Like, he's done so much. Like, I mean, it's sad, it's tragic to pass sudden passing, but his impact is forever going to be felt in Kyokushin.
Absolutely. Yes, it was amazing. And there's only so many guys, you know, you fight in the dojo, you fight in competition. But I know there was, for me, I felt two guys that hit hard. And I know two guys competitively that were the strongest strikers. There was two of them. And for me, the first one was my little brother. That guy could punch and hurt you real bad, real fast. That's natural strength. And the other one was Shihan Lamar, that when you fought him, I couldn't believe the pain and from the blows, the impact from the blows, the hands and the legs. it was unreal. It's like somebody hitting you with a baseball bat, actually, so feel that for a 3-minute round, and then an extension round, then an extension round. So that 10-hour drive back in New Brunswick, it wasn't so much fun. We had a lot of laughs back there. So, but it was all worth it. No regrets, and those were the great days. And we still have great days coming up. You just have folks on guys like you that want to get in there and that want to get to work, and we're all there for you. We're going to support you and help you in that process. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question. I want to ask you about the Ohan Gold Cup, because it's such an important tournament. So shout out to Shihan Dan Ohan for an amazing job he does with the Gold Cup. I've seen highlights, and so tell me like how you and Shihan Dan met. And then what was it like the early Gold Cups? Because they had some big names in those days. Like they had guys like Sandro Ferrante, Michael Zimmerman. There was others too. Like, so what were those early days like?
I don't remember, but I know me and Sean Dominic. Oh.
What happened?
Not sure. Hold on there.
It's okay, guys. It happens when you're on your own. Thank God I'm not under contract with like any like media. They'd be like, what's going on?
I'm not sure. I remember, bro. No, you're not there. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear and see me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
It's okay. We're gonna fix this. Don't worry, guys. Shihan Dan's camera just kind of malfunctioned, but it's okay. It's technology's never perfect, so it's okay. This will be fixed.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
I got her. That's pretty good for a guy that's not too technically. So we were talking about Sean Dominic.
Yeah, and how you met him in the early Gold Cups. Yeah.
Yes, I remember. I don't remember. We actually fought at a tournament. I don't know. It was on the Jobert tournament, I imagine. So I don't know who won. I think it was a draw. I'm not sure. I don't remember that fight, but I think we did fight. But it wasn't until 2000 and before that, probably 2002, 2003. Okay, that's when the New Brunswick group had decided to switch over to Matsushima group. Okay, for whatever reason, it's not important. But we had decided that it was the best thing for us to do. And it was at that point that we were introduced to the Gold Cups. Okay. And at that point, we knew we had a world tournament coming up in 2004. So we had to get a team ready for that. So at that, I think for me, memory-wise, that was the first one we participated for the Gold Cup. We did that tournament there. Maybe would have done 2003. But I remember that it's at that point that we started going to the Gold Cup tournaments, and always a spectacular tournament. He always has a lot of fighters, great fighters. He had great matches, and the finals, and it was always a big hype for them. It's like a big show, and it did remind me of the André Colombe era, you know, the Christophe Colomb, the tournaments that we were in, right? Alex, you know, whatever the place we were fighting. So it reminded me of that kind of energy where both teams from different dojos, they were lining up and they were getting together, and then boom, in the finals they would meet. So there's a lot of that going on, and every year he would do the same. You know, sometimes promoters they'll cut corners but he would never cut corners. He would try to make it as big of a hype as possible, and he always did that. He always worked relentlessly trying to improve his Gold Cup, and he did. He brings it up to a level where, wow, it's hard to stick with that. But there's a lot, because of the disparity of the different groups, organizations. We're just missing more of the adult full contact, you know, because they're going to different tournaments. There are 3, 4, 5 tournaments, so it's hard to, you know. So he's focusing a lot on the juniors, the kids, which is great, because the kids is where you want to focus, because they're growing up and they're going to make good fighters, and they want to compete all the time, and then you build it back up again, you know. So I think his idea is super. He has a great thing going on. COVID kicked it, but he's coming back, and I know he's going to come back stronger, you know. So what he puts into it with everything he has. So all those tournaments that we go to, the Ohan Gold Cups, They're always they're phenomenal. They did go down a little bit on the fighting aspect where we had less adult competitors, but he always made the best of it. And that's what I like about it. He's always putting all the efforts into it. And now he's teaming up with Pierre Katafa, and they're getting together and they're supporting each other, which is good. Different groups should do that. They should support and it's hard because there's so many groups out there. There's so many tournaments out there, and nobody can have, okay, no, well, you don't come to mine, I won't go to yours. And so you have to pick and choose, and I respect that, Yeah. So, but he's showing a lot of work, and it's paying off, because I think the last one had over 250 or 300 kids in their juniors, competing, which is excellent. For me, if I have 10 adults competing, but I have 300, it says a lot about what's coming. So there's a lot of good things coming for Shihan Dominic, because of how hard he's working and trying to build through the young generation, So it's good. It's a good point. I love what he's doing. I love his tournaments, and we're always going to support them, because he has, how hard he's working towards having everybody put together. At some point, you had other organizations coming in and working together, and you're trying to build that bond all the time, And it takes time to do that. It just doesn't happen in a year, 2 years. It takes 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. That's a long process, But for us, Kyokushin, and for him as a leader, he's showing that process. He's showing that leadership that he has, and the determination and the willingness to put it on again and again and again. Doesn't matter what obstacle, he's getting through them, and that's what I love about it.
What I like about him too, from what I see, I've never met the man, but I really hope one day I can meet him, talk to him and pick his brain. So hopefully, Shihan Dom, if you ever want to come on the Drew Experience, the door is always open. Just I've had Dan on, I've had Vincent on. Doors open, my friend. So, and Shihan Pierre. So, hey, doors open. And but he seems like he's also got that business mind too, because to do a good tournament, you have to love it, but you need to have that business mind to understand what's going into it too. So it seems that what I see is that he's really using technology well. And I just think, at the end of the day, you gotta I gotta applaud him for that, because we need to use technology more. We see the other arts doing it, like Muay Thai and BJJ.
Yeah.
But Kyokushin is kind of like in that middle, but he's I see he's taking it upwards with it.
Yeah. He's got a great team. He's got a great team working on it all the time, every year. He has a great team set up for his venue and for his tournament. So that's always a plus for him. And the team you see that he has been with him that long. They're not just newcomers there and they're learning the ropes. They've been there since the beginning. I've seen the same people over and over and over, and they're working relentlessly. They're like, it's a full day's work, and it's not a full day. It's like a full 6 month worth a lot of work. Tournaments, and usually what they'll say is if you're hosting a tournament, be ready to lose money. Don't be ready to make money. Be ready to lose money. Now, I know there's a business side of it, but as a promoter, small tournaments, big tournaments, that's what you want to host a world tournament. Be ready to lose money, because you're not making money. You have to fly these guys in. You have to, pay for this, pay for that. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, if you make something great, but you have to mentally get ready to, this could cost me a lot there, but I want to put it on. I need to put it on. We need to get this show on. And that's the mindset he has, with all due respect, he's putting all that effort into it. And this is why that the people should see that. You have to see that, he's putting a lot of energy into him. This is why he got the Nakamura team involved into refereeing as well. There's different groups, different rules. So it's nice to have a combination of different organizations as judges, as corner, as Fukushins and Sushins. So they learn how to process those different rules between different groups, right? So it's a learning process for everybody, but everybody's doing a great job, and that's what we want to see. At the end of the day, is those little kids that are showing up, is those 10 or 15 or 20 full contact fighters are putting all their time and their energy into it. You want them to have a fair day and have a great day and a great experience. And that he's always focused on that. When I talk to him at a tournament, if I see him, I know he's busy, he's running. He looks like he's doing nothing, but he's doing 1,000 things, right?
In his head, and then he's putting it. It's amazing what he does, and And it's like, I love the media from what I see, like with like the Gold Cup. And I guess, you know what? I'm just going to throw my hat in here and I'm going to say, as I've put out the announcement, I'm coming back in 2022 to Kyokushin. I'm going to say 2023, I'm going to compete. And I missed it too much. I missed it too much.
Yeah.
So I want to compete, and what better way to do it at the Gold Cup? I don't care if I won first, second, or third. I just want that experience, and then from there,
experience is a learning. You know, you don't lose when you compete. There's no losers in competitions. There's experience. You learn every time you're gonna compete. You never take a loss. You know, I never. I've lost a lot of fights. I didn't win all my fights. I lost a lot of battles, and they were all learning lessons. I always took that as a learning, as a tool to bring back and work and develop, you know, with those losses. What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Oh, he's stronger. He's faster. Oh, cardio is not good. Okay, well, so there's always something to learn out of it. And even when you win, there's something to learn out of it. Don't think of it as a, okay, now I can relax. Now I got that. No. Get to work. Take a breath. Now let's get back to work, to training, right? So there's always things to learn. You'll never be bored when you're going into Kyokushin. You'll never be bored. When my guys say, "Are we fighting?" No, we're doing katas. We're doing a whole bunch of techniques and katas. Are you bored? Well, there's no reason to be bored because there's like 1,000 katas to learn, you know. And you're fighting. You can put that fighting in there anytime you want, any day you want. There's always something to go and give yourself that motivation, right? And that comes from our seniors. You know, you have Shihan Dan and our mentors, Hanshi, Rowan Shraev. Now, these guys, they're like 115 years old. They're not gonna tell you their real age. You know, they say late mid 70s, early 80s. They're like 115. They've been training since I don't know how many lives they've had, but these guys have so much knowledge and so much experience. They've been everywhere. They train with Sosai. They've been around the world all the time, and they're what they have to offer and what they have to give it's just unreal. You think you know everything? Go do a seminar with one of these guys, and they'll tell you're a white belt. You're oh yeah, you're a fifth dan. No, you're a white belt. Wait till I show you this stuff and try to follow me. That's how they are. And that's the respect I have for these guys, because they've seen it all. They haven't seen it all. They're still learning. But what great leaders do we have, you know? So for us to say that, I think I may, no. You think you learn it and you're not even close yet. Keep going, keep pushing. So for you to get back in there and get that oomph back into the fighting game, good for you. That's going to be good for your mind. It's going to be good for your body, you know, and any help that you want and you need, you know, you have your support group there, right? So you just stick with them and you just push until you think you can't do anymore. You can do more. Your body thinks it can't do anymore. You know, your head, but you have to focus on what your mind can do, right?
I mean, I have the video of when I fought one of Shinku's guys, Mathieu Guinot, under Vince, and I don't post it because then if you post videos,
you should. Where is it?
I'll get it from my friend Kevin. I'll send it to you after. But like the thing is, it's like I don't like posting my videos because like everybody thinks they know fighting. Everybody thinks they watch a UFC fight. They're a fight expert. You should have done this. You should have done that. And it's like, listen, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna say this. Everybody thinks they know fighting until they get in on that tatami and take a leg kick. It's one thing to watch it. It's one thing to be there. So I don't care if I win first, second, or third. You learn from those experiences, as you said. So when people say you should have done this, you know what? How about you? I'm going to say this. How about, because I equate Kyokushin Karate to the Army, but not just any unit in the Army. I say, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. I'm sorry to all the other styles that hear this, or like Shotokan and whatnot. But I'm just going to say Kyokushin is the Navy SEALs of karate. We are the Navy SEALs. We train on land. We train on the sea. We train not in the air, but we train with our bare fists and our feet. And, you know, we're doing stuff that probably other styles don't do.
Joe, be careful. Be careful. It's not the style. It's the karateka.
True.
You know, like I told you earlier, I know some Taekwondo, you know, Lechi Kurbanov, you know, these guys with the legs, and they'll snap you in half there in about 2 seconds. these guys have backgrounds in other stuff, right?
True, true.
I know some,
Okay.
you know, Mashida, you know,
Yeah.
Ryoto Mashida. Oh, that's a Shotogan guy. You know, you would think the Shotogan guy would be a UFC champion. That's because he's putting his time in, you know. So it doesn't matter what style you represent. It's what you're putting into it.
That's
You
true.
have some good boxers going into karate, and they're getting their hands in there. But you're right, the Kyokushin Sosai always emphasize, you know, you wanna you wanna make it real, get into that ring. Go feel what it feels like to get, you know.
Oh yeah.
Get kicked and get punched, and so yeah. So yes, you're right. We do have a strong ethic in Kyokushin. We do have something that Sosai built, that just try to follow it.
True.
Just try to think you can get up, you're not there yet. So there's always that push, that you know, you want to keep going forward. But that a lot is depends on the person.
True.
You know. So I can have a guy that did Taekwondo and he can come into Kyokushin. If the mindset is there, doesn't matter what style he has there, he's gonna put it into it, and he's gonna be victorious because of the work he put into it. Right?
True.
It's all about how much work you're gonna put into it.
So let me reword that, okay? It doesn't matter the style. I respect all styles. Let me just reword that. Stand corrected there, you know? I love everyone that does martial arts is good, but I just have a bit of a personal bias. I have to be honest. I just think Kyokushin, we all do, but I just think Kyokushin is like, when I look at Kyokushin, it's like the Navy SEALs. That's one of the toughest military units in the world. Like, it's and you know, we're kind of James Bond like too, to a degree, when like you're like, you know, think of it like your Shians are like the M's. You have some of the coaches that are like Q branch, and then you're like the spy, and you're going in to represent. It's like you just go in there like you're like a trained assassin. It's I use a lot of analogies. For those who know, I'm a big James Bond fanatic. You can ask me about Star Wars, I won't know anything. You ask me about James Bond, I'm like an encyclopedia. And like it's like I post it on my Facebook all the time now, because like I watched the last one, and like I have a collection of Bond books in my house. Like it's like the first thing you'll see there is like Bond, like Roger Moore on Bond, and then The Making of the Living Daylights, which is my all-time favorite. So that's what you see in my apartment when you come here. But I digress.
You know, Sean Connery was honorary Kyokushin member, right? Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty good. Sosai was everywhere. He had connections everywhere. He knew a lot of people. Dolph Lundgren, you seen Dolph? You seen his Kumite fighting? He was a guest at our World Open there in Spain. You know, so people talk to people. They're still friends. You know, maybe Kyokushin branches out a lot of different places, but at the end of the day, you have to be respectful to others, and doesn't matter where they train. Sometimes, you know, it involves family issues, work issues. You have to relocate, you have to move. So sometimes the people, they have to make that switch in order to stay active, right? So you have to respect that. I respect everybody that trains and gives 100%. It doesn't matter where you go, and it just depends on the schedule. I had people in my dojo that said, Shihan, it's better if I go there because it's closer, and my work, I finish a certain hour. Good luck. Keep training hard, but it doesn't matter where you train. It doesn't have to be at this dojo. If it's better for you and the family to train at that dojo, go at that dojo and do your best. That's all I ask for.
I always say this. I'd rather you continue Kyokushin than quit altogether. It's better just to continue any way you can.
Absolutely. So in that sense, it's an individual thing, you know, and as the teacher and the instructor, you have to support that. You have to support the students and where they're at in life and what they need to do and what's available out there. You have to support that. If you're telling me I'm coming to New Brunswick and I want to train Kyokushin, I'm moving to Fredericton. Well, I'm not going to say come and train in Moncton. There's a dojo in Fredericton. So I'm going to hook you up with the guy in Fredericton. Doesn't matter if it's the same affiliation or organization. That's where it's closest for you, right? So that's where you're going to be training because you're there, right? So it's kind of that, in that sense, you have to support everybody and the decisions they're making instead of saying, "Oh, why are you doing?" No, none of that. Just be respectful and make sure that they're in there and they're pushing and they're training hard. That's what you want to hear, right? That people are having good experience with the Kyokushin training, the Kyokushin life.
What I think is more important too now is, I'm sure you heard about that karate combat league that's like that George St. Pierre is like a representative for. So we're getting Kyokushin guys now. Like we have two. There's one named Max. I've hosted them both, Zolt and Max Mathis, like Zolt Ziga Jr. and Max Mathis. But the problem with karate combat is they're restricting the low leg kicks to a degree, and that's where it handicaps. So I support them. But if karate combat really wants to be considered karate combat, I just think open the door. Let them do everything. You let the styles what's the word I'm looking? Express themselves to their fullest.
Okay. But in that sense, it has to be supported probably by Karate Canada. So there's already commissions out there that exist that will support those different rules. You have to align yourself with them to make sure that you can organize, and they will allow those rules if you make an application and it gets approved, right? So they can probably still do it. It depends on which organizations they want to go under. So that's
True.
How it's going to go.
True. Interesting. So let me ask you this, because you've also been an inspector for like New Brunswick combat sports events and also for the UFC. So now we'll turn it to some MMA talk. Like, obviously, we do Kyokushin. We all know GSP did Kyokushin. Are there any fighters you like that like you feel like their striking is like, whoa, like this is like, this guy's fun to watch?
Hold on there a second. I'm going to lose power there. I got to find my cord. Hold on 2 seconds, buddy.
Hold on, guys. Don't worry. Shihan Dan is just putting back in the power cord for his power and for his laptop, so he doesn't die here, because we want to continue this amazing conversation. So give it 2 minutes. In the meantime, all I got to say is this is an amazing conversation, and we'll continue as we talk about MMA now, moving on from Kyokushin, but mixing Kyokushin in with MMA.
Us.
You're back.
All right,
okay,
now I'm not gonna lose you. I didn't have power cord on there, so I'm sorry about that, buddy. What was that last?
No, like the one thing I wanted to ask is, like, we all watch MMA, so I wanted to ask you, is there any like fighters in particular that you enjoy watching with, like, with your experience being on the commission and so forth? Yeah.
I love a lot of MMA fights. Now, when they're asking me who's gonna win, I always tell them I never bet on MMA. You can never it's one punch, one kick away from a knockout. It's very hard to place a bet on who's the fighter that's going to win the match, right? So when you have a match like that, doesn't matter who it is, Anderson, the St. Pierre, I can't decide, okay, I'm going to pick him because he might get knocked out with one posture. So I never bet on it, but I enjoy the UFC. I enjoy the MMA fights. We sanctioned them here in New Brunswick. I work as an inspector, and we had the UFC host in Moncton here a couple of years back. Those are great experiences. And you see those guys that are coming in, the Fraz's team and teams from all around, and they're so respectful. They show so much respect. They train so hard that when they come in and they actually do, they get ready, they get prepared, they get relaxed, they're focusing on their warm-ups and all that. There is such a high level of respect in that room. It's unbelievable. And me as a martial artist, I see that and I feel that through those teams, like you said, it's not a individual thing. When you get to competitive mode, it's an actual family team thing. So when you get that close to somebody and they're building up at the top of their game, you see that it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just the respect is so deep that you just feel right, relaxed. There's no issues. We never have issues with these guys because they train so much that they know what to do. They know how to stay calm. They know how to warm up. So there's never any issues with these UFC fighters and MMA fighters, because there's always something if they need something, they're going to ask their coach. They're going to ask their trainer. They're going to ask so we never have issues with these guys. But like a pick I showed you with Henderson and I had Tony, I had Anthony Smith. So all these guys, I was right in there with them. And you see the dynamic that goes on at that level, you know. And I've seen that already in Kyokushin tournaments. I've seen that develop through our tournaments, and the friendship that come out to two-person trying to be victorious. And at the end of that match, there's a first and a second, there's a winner and somebody that learned a lesson, and they come back, and then there's a friendship that's, you know, there's a bond that goes on there that it's forever. It's not a I hate you 2 seconds, and no, we're gonna fight, we're gonna compete, and then there's that mutual respect between the two competitors. So in MMA, I just see the same thing, and it evolves from people that are working so hard. They're giving so much. Doesn't matter the background. The jiu-jitsu guys, the wrestlers, the boxers, and we sanction boxing events as well. And it's the same thing. I think that as athletes, the preparation that goes into building up and actually leading up to that one match, it takes a lot out of you, and there's a learning process there. There's a bond that goes on that you learn from it, whether you win or you lose, and then you reassess. If it's a loss, if it's a win, because we escort them back to the room. And once they get back to the room, they deflate, and then they just analyze what just happened, what's going on, and how do I make it better. All the fighters that I've processed, when they come back to the room, they just analyze. Okay, now let's relax and back to the drawing board, and we get back to work, which is what the same process as what we did in Kyokushin. So you're gonna see the same level. You don't see it in the background. All you guys see is the fighters come in the ring, and then they duke it out, and they split. You don't see all what's going on before and after the matches. That's what I see. I'm right there with them. And when I watch them, it reminds me so much of the Kyokushin era and the Kyokushin spirit, that it's the respect level that is there, and that you're showing it before, during, and after the match. And that's what I see through all these MMA events and boxing events, is that these athletes, they put a lot into it, and they respect each other for it. And that's great to see at all levels, right?
So true. I agree. I definitely agree. It is something to watch and see. And I mean, you've done like the commission inspecting for the one in 2018, which was Anthony Smith versus Volkan Ozdemir. Were you also at the one in 2014, which was Rory McDonald and Tarek Safadine?
Was that in Halifax?
I think it was in. It might have been in Halifax. Let me. Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, the Halifax. I had Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, the UFC fighter. He was the main event too.
It was a trip.
That's crazy. And Derek, he's such a great guy. He was such a chill guy. It's amazing how you see these professionals come in there, and I seen the same thing through Kyokushin training. I seen the same mentality. Just stay relaxed, stay focused, and then they'll warm up a little bit, and then they stay focused, and then they go out and they do their thing. You think they're crazy, nasty, crazy bunch of people. Then they come back. They're just like you and me. But they work so hard. You hear about what they're going through to actually get there. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. And you'll see that, at any event you're going to go through. And as a fighter, you're going to experience that. You're going to experience that, how much work you actually put into it. Then you come back and you say, whoa, that was something. That was something. I want to do that again. It's addictive. We wanted to do that year in, year out. Yeah. No breaks. No breaks. Well, why are we stopping for Christmas? Okay, well, we'll stop for Christmas, but let's get back to it. We wanted so bad to just keep the ball rolling. So we were finding everything else to do to make sure that we never stop. You don't want to stop. You just want to keep going. Your body can push it. Your mind can push your body, and then you just keep going forward. And when you do that, Drew, you're going to find that you're going to have success. You're going to have success in your tournaments. You're going to have success in your podcast, because you're putting a lot of energy into it. And it's a passion for you. It's a passion. So when you do it with passion, wow, you get great results.
The goal, yeah, is like the goal is to eventually speak to as many Kyokushin minds as possible to grow the art. I don't care what association you're in. Like it's about making sure like we help grow Sosai's vision.
Absolutely.
That's what Sosai wanted. So it's I think the future is very yeah. Yeah, oh, there's your photo there. I was like, you want to raise your yeah. Like that's what it is. You know, I've read Shihan Cameron Quinn's book, The Budo Way. Fantastic. That's another book everyone should add to their collection. If you really want to add it, contact Shihan Cameron on Facebook and then Shihan Hugo Perez. Sorry, guys, I had to mention you on here. So if you're gonna make some, I'm trying to help bring business. I'm a people pusher. I'm trying to push people to get that book. But I joke, but it's a great book. It's an amazing book. Like, and that's the just
absolutely.
We're treasure. It's a privilege to have Cameron Quinn still around.
Oh, absolutely. These guys were hand to hand. They were with Sosai all the way through. They've been there through thick and thin, and guys like that, Cameron Quinn. You have Hanshi John Taylor. You have Hanshi Roman Shraev. You have Jean de Gilbert. These guys were there. They lived and trained with Sosai. You know, we have to appreciate them and we have to respect them. And I can just imagine Sean Klaus Rex, another Danish big strong man. He fought Andy Hug actually in the early 80s, and now he's representing his country from Denmark. And stories, these guys have stories that we didn't hear, we couldn't hear. You know, we had a seminar after the Gold Cup. He was invited, and he comes out with stories from the days where they train with Sosai. We don't hear that. My generation and the younger generation, we don't know that. But these guys are around. These are guys that you would have on your podcast, and let's get those stories out now. You know, because we don't hear them when we train with Kensho. We're not going to hear the stories from Kensho and Sosai. We don't hear that. We just go to training and then okay, let's go eat. But I want the stories. I want to hear what was going on. What was going on that dojo at the Hambu dojo in Ikeburu, Japan, you know? I imagine there's a ton of stories that could come out of that. You'll get some from the books, you know, you'll get some from the reads. But if you can get those Shians and those Hanshis and get them to tell you the story, then you have a document of, oh, that's what was going on over there, right? I'm sure they have great stories.
One of the greatest stories I've heard, like it's going to come out on the episode next week with Nick Pettis. I'm just going to give you guys a sneak peek of that. Sensei Nicholas talks about a guy named, he's like in Papua New Guinea. I think his name is Wally Schnau something. Like, I'm really sorry if I butcher the name, but it's a Shihan Wally. And like, so like in my old, like I used to call myself a nomad because I go from dojo to dojo just to train, you know, and hear people. But then eventually Nick is like, you know, you call yourself a nomad. This guy was an actual nomad. Like he was with Hambu. Then he was just going around to tournament. Then he came back to Australia. Then he went back to Papua New Guinea, and he's like, "That's a guest you should get on." So I'm like, "Okay, well, those are the stories I want to hear. Like, what made you go from this tournament to that tournament, and then you go like." There's some stuff you want to make a movie out of. You want to make these like documentaries like out of these people.
Yeah. And there are guys that have done that, and it's special, you know. But what happens if they're with one organization? They might get a couple of stories out of that, but that's it. It doesn't go any further than that. I'd be happy to hear all the different stories from different people that actually did train in Hambu and actually did have those kinds of experiences, whether it's in Hambu or outside, whatever country you're from, Australia, Africa, New Zealand, China, Japan. There's a lot of say out there, and the more we can get, the better it is, because I find that the younger generation, they're getting the training and all that, but they haven't heard everything about this guy and the others around, right? So again, it comes down to the respect and trying to find those people that can actually share, and they were actually living at that period of time, and they can tell us those stories, right?
One idea that I have that I'm going to put it out on here, I've sold it to others, but I mean, it's an idea, but I don't know how, is I want to get on my coach, Mohammed Sheikh, but Mo is very busy. I want to get on Vincent Michaud, and I want to get on Mick Cordero. Because of my generation, I call those three the three heavyweight kings of Quebec. It's very subjective, but Vince, Mohammed, and Mick have done a lot. in my era. There's also Sensei Sebastian Cans too, who I want to put in there. I've reached out to Sebastian, but Sebastian is more focused on teaching right now.
Jean Riviere, do you know
Jean
that
Riviere?
guy? Jean Riviere, that was an amazing champion. You know what? Being number 4 in the world, you know what he had to get through to get to number 4 at a world tournament. The last one, Sosai, was still alive and actually being present. That's a lot of fight. He fought he fought the cream of the cream from Japan and all around the world. Mm-hmm. Number 4, Jean Riviere. That guy, I would love to hear what he has to say. He's an amazing human being. He was very respectful. That's the guy who would sit down, him and Marc Mourier and the other heavyweights. But Jean Riviere, we would sit down and wait. This guy weighed over 250 something, and he could touch his foot on the ceiling he was super flexible. That's an amazing champion, you know. And somehow he got lost there in the Kyokushin. And I have him on Facebook, but hats off to Jean. Much respect there, and I would love to hear his stories about Japan and his training, and because that was an amazing man right there. And he finished 4th. You know, he fought the big names in Japan, and he fought them. You see that clip where he does a back spinning kick? They both do the back spinning kick, and Jean gets him first, and then they both fall, and Jean knocked them out. But it's just stuff like that. This guy would fight, and he would fight with so much heart and so much, the determination. It's unreal. And that's one guy I want you to have on that show if you can get him, because he's an amazing person, an amazing human being.
I'm going to work on it.
There's a lot of champions, you know, and even non-champions. There's a lot of people that, like I said, it's the stories that you're going to hear about, the experiences that people have had just next door to you and on the other side of the planet. You know, it's just amazing. The Kyokushin community, it's diverse, but there's always something to learn. There's always people to meet, and there's always friends to make. That's a non-negotiable. It's always going to be there. When you have that respect towards your fellow human beings, you're gonna get a bond there, and you're gonna be learning something from somebody else. You know, it doesn't matter the group. You're gonna be learning again.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. That's what I aim for. Like, you know, I don't want to be like, what's the word? I don't want to be like liked to the point. Like, I'm not like the nice guy to get walks all over him, but you know, I read biographies of like greats, and that's how I want to be with this show. Like, I don't want to like the one that's respected, because I want to treat people the way they deserve to be treated. So that's where like I always try to keep it I always try my best to keep it positive. Even if someone says no, I don't want to come on, I'll never hold it against them. I say, listen, the door's open. I understand this is not for everybody. Like, for example, I wanted to get on, like, as I said, like I wanted to get on like all of them, like to do this, like to talk about my era, which was, I said, Mo, Mick, Sebastian, and Vincent. But their schedules don't really work, and some of them are like very busy in their careers, and some of them would rather just do, you know, like, you know, face to face or like, you know, over the phone. And I respect that, and I'm not going to ever hold it against them, except for Mo. So Mo, you're coming on the show soon. He always says, I'm coming on. So Mohammed Chick, you're coming on soon. I'm going to get you on. He's going to come on soon. Don't worry. So people who ask, when's Mo coming on? He's coming on soon. Don't worry. There's stuff in the works there, but just not right away. But I want to ask you, Shihan, you know, as karate evolves, Kyokushin evolves with A, technology, and B, more kids getting back into martial arts because of, say, Cobra Kai, the UFC, or St. Pierre's influence, Habib's influence, even though he's not a karateka, but just the values of martial arts. Where do you see Kyokushin karate going as the century evolves and as we evolve as human beings?
Oh, it's still very healthy. It's still a very healthy community. People need something. They need to let go. They need to let go at some point and somewhere, whether it's boxing, judo. The Kyokushin community is still there. It's just like I said, it's diverse. The people that are doing their thing. And COVID took a big chunk out of it. It affected my dojos strongly, and I know it affected pretty much every dojo, you know, around the world, because we don't only have that mental but we have that physical contact as well, through kumite and through even the training and the warm up. There's always the hands on, and when you have to control that, it takes a lot out of a person, right? So physically, mentally, you're trying to adapt, and that's still part of the training. You still have to try to adapt. But the Kyokushin community is still very strong, I find. Whether it's a Kyokushin Kanshin, Kyokushin Kai, it doesn't matter which organization. It still comes from this guy here, and I'm proud of everybody that's putting in their work and their time. Some dojos, they have to change the logo. They have to. It's a legal thing, it's a legal thing, so they have to change it. It doesn't change the person. It doesn't change who you are. It changes that, okay, I can't wear this, but underneath, inside, you're still a Kyokushin karateka. So I feel that Kyokushin is going to be needed in the near future because of the pandemic that we are going through, and we're going to need something to tie us back together, and not as a one unit. There are many different units, but it's still, we need this this physical and this mental and this spiritual aspect of the Kyokushin community. So it will make us stronger. It's not going to spread out and kill all the Kyokushin community. It's going to make us tighter and stronger as a unit, and we're going to stay focused on what Kyokushin is, what the Budo martial artist should be. So we need to stay focused on that, and it's going to take time, and we have time. That's all we have is time. So we just need to stay focused on one day at a time. Let's set a goal, and let's work towards that goal. If that gets cut and it gets moved another year, that's part of our training. Part of our training is to being patient and having the respect and having the knowledge to still physically and mentally take care of ourselves. And in due time, when it comes, then we meet. And when we meet again, we'll be happier to meet each other. We have 2 years, 3 years apart. So when we finally get to Montreal, boys, I'm happy to see you. Boys, I'm happy to see you. So I think it's going to make the community much stronger instead of just dissolving. It is going to make us strong because we need this. Humans need humans. We're not meant to be alone. Sosai said this, and you live this. Humans are not meant to be alone. We need other human beings to be happy and be in contact. So physically, this is going to happen. And when, I can't tell you when. I'm just focusing on one training at a time. But for me, there is a when, there is a time frame at some point. But I'm not focusing on the time frame. I'm just focusing on the training. That's all I need to do for now. But it will get stronger. I believe that.
I believe so too. I think it's amazing. And the one thing, and look, I don't want to. It was a very negative thing that happened where we lost Hanshi Steve Arniel. But the one thing is, I think it was beautiful to see everyone just come together for his death. And, it just goes to show that this was a man that believed in a vision for Kyokushin for all. And I really think his death slowly, what I think, I'm someone that tries to look at the positives. And when Hanshi Arniel passed away, I think slowly we're seeing more and more everybody just come together now. It's
absolutely. And we're going to see more of that. We're actually going to see more of that because you know what? And this is why I come back to respect and our elders, our seniors that we have right now, we need to take care of them. But at some point, it's going to be the next generation and the next generation. So we just need to stay focused and be respectful of and appreciate what we have now. As a Kyokushin organization, may be diverse, but it still comes from one guy here that his objective was actually to make bring people together, not separate, not cause wars, but the wars are in the ring. Outside the ring, you're not at war, you're at peace. So you should use that as a tool, right, to bring into your own personal life. But use it. Don't leave it there. When you have that tool that you can make amends and you can show the respect for another person and support that other person, that's what it's all about. At the end of the line, that's what it's all about, to help the others get stronger. You're right. Making yourself stronger, well, get somebody else up there, right? So it's going to make you stronger as a person. Absolutely.
It's so true. Now I have one last question here, but it's not Kyokushin related because you did say you played hockey before. So, because I used to play hockey too, actually. I was a defenseman too. I wasn't offensive. I was a stay-at-home defense.
Did you get in fights? No?
Oh, I got into a fight. I'll tell one story on here. It was a crazy story. But I played ball hockey because I was terrible at ice. But who was your team, by the way? Was it Montreal or was it a Rangers? Because for the Maritimes, everyone in the Maritimes seems to be either a Rangers fan or a Bruins fan. I don't know why. but I'll respect it.
I'll tell you, Sergey, I'll tell you this, okay? My son, he's 15. Now, I'm his stepdad, but I'm going to tell you, if he watches this whole podcast, he'll know the truth. But if he doesn't watch, he won't know the full truth. I've always been a Habs fan. Montreal is my hometown. It's Canadian. That's me in a nutshell. But me, I'm like UFC. I know he's the champion, but I'm rooting for both fighters. Whoever wins this match, I don't have any money on that. I don't have any, So for me, I love hockey in general. But if I had to be a young kid, 12-year-old, I'd have that Guy Lafleur there on number on my back. And that's me as a New Brunswicker, as a Canadian. That's my team right there. But everybody else I respect and I love.
Same here. For me, look, I'm from Montreal, so obviously I'd say Montreal. But, I took a break from hockey, and then eventually when I had Alex Kovalev's son on my show, Nikita, after the show, Nikita was like, why not just become a Rangers fan? That's my dad's team of origin. And then it's like, you said you like Artemi Panarin. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I like Artemi Panarin. He's like, oh, Mika Zibanejad is half Iranian. Yeah, that's true. Adam Fox is your favorite demon. Yeah, that's true. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Look, at the end of the day, I say now I'm a Rangers fan. Like, I just like the Rangers. But look, you know what? I like hockey in general. Like, I don't hate on Montreal, even though they're struggling. But you know what? I like the New York Rangers. I like the other bleu, blanc, rouge. So that's what it is. But but the story about for me with fighting, I'll tell you what happened. So when I was playing ball hockey, look, it gets a bit ugly here, but I'll try to make as funny as I can. So there was a time where we were in a league and we were one of the only English teams. Okay. So our team was called the Raiders. And we had rivals called Les Pirates. So it was like our French rivals. And there was one night we were playing them and they weren't calling any penalties on them. Like there was some, and I was coaching that night because I was a player and a coach, but that night I was coaching because I was just not in the mood to play. A lot of issues. Like I remember that day like it was yesterday. So out of nowhere, I called a timeout. I'm like, guys, go out and run them. So I told them it doesn't matter. Just go out and run them. So at one point the face-off happens. My they're in the pirate zone out of nowhere. Or my teammate Jordan, who was a barn animal. This guy had super skill, but had like a fuse that go, pfft. And if that fuse goes, forget it. It's like Dennis Rodman. You don't control Dennis Rodman. So at one point Jordan just like goes into the goalie. A fight ensues out of nowhere. One of the like our captain is in the corner. Dave is fighting their captain and not their co-captain. Man. My guy Mike is, who's our most skilled player, is like just like is like trying to get out of like his tussle to go help Dave. And then their coach sees me. He recognizes that like somehow I was wearing a V-neck T-shirt, so I had a Star of David on. So I don't know where he yells out to me in French. He's like, hey, like he yells out like an anti-Semitic slur because I'm Jewish. So I'm just like, so I'm like, okay, I'm like, so at one point like I just yell at my guys just like at one point like I yell at Jordan to go just ram the goalie. So it's a whole thing. The whole fight happens. We meet this team in the final. Okay, you couldn't have scripted it better, and we beat them in the final. But the guy apologized. He recognized me, and like I'll say it, like, look, he apologized, and I just told we had a nice talk after. But it said to him nicely, look, I said, can't say stuff like that, like, because it's gonna really get you into trouble with others, whether it's in sports or outside of work. He's like, I know. He's like, I was very ignorant to say that. But moral is, I miss hockey though. But I'm not playing again. My knees are finished, so I do martial arts. I'm retired from that, but I'm not retired from Kyokushin. But yeah, man, that's my story.
That's what I tell people. I talk to people and they say, oh, I have bad knees from soccer. And well, you should have done karate, do karate. That's not hard on the knees. That's not hard on the back. You do karate, So that's what I tell them. I make fun of them. So when they tell me they have injuries, I say, you should have done karate, You wouldn't have had all those injuries. So that's just an inside joke there.
Exactly. But, so Shihan, and I guess we'll conclude it here. So Shihan, where can people connect with you on if they ever want to like touch base if they're in New Brunswick or in general?
I'm on Facebook. They can find me under Daniel Gaudet on Facebook. That's pretty much all I have because it's too hard to follow those kids on the Instagram and all that stuff. So I don't bother. I'm just on Facebook for the messages and all that. And hey, anybody in New Brunswick that wants to catch up with the dojo. And we're open to all styles. It doesn't matter who you're training with. You're down here on vacation. I had people come down and do some classes. They're not Aikyo Matsushima, and it's okay. You don't have to be, you just want to train, come on down, and we'll open, our doors are always open to everybody. So it doesn't matter who it is. And Joe, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad I got the chance to meet you, and I hope we do this again. And I'm going to be in Montreal at some point in time and we have to meet up. We have to meet up, and I want to see your training. I want to train with you, and I want to see your progress. I want to see your progress where you're getting back into it and going up there, and I'm going to follow that. I'm going to follow that real close.
Sounds good. Doors always open. I mean, look, if you ever want to do like another show where we break down like karate greats, I want to do that. Other ideas I have too is like I want to have maybe you and Dom come on, Shihan Dom, to preview the Gold Cup maybe. Because like at the end of the day, like I want to help grow the sport and the art.
Absolutely.
I need to do that. That is my goal. I'm pushing the envelope. So
well, you're doing a great job.
You're
doing a fantastic job, and keep up the great work, my friend. Everything, like I said, everybody you're gonna have on your Drew experience, which rocks, is gonna give you full of information, and you can take that and just help everybody out. And that's your way of helping everybody out, which is fantastic, you know. So good for you. I'm very happy for you, and I hope things go great. I wish you all the best, and I hope that things will pan out for you, you know, because you work so hard, and that's what happens when people work so hard. They get good results.
It's true. It's true. Stay consistent. Always say my advice is after I put out like the post where I put 75 episodes, I just tell people, guys, stay consistent, take action, don't perfect it. Just be consistent. And along the way, go back to fixing it. You can always do that, but just get started. Just do it. It's hard, but just do it. Get started. And I know I'm sounding like David Goggins here, some guru. Take action. That's the moral of the day. So guys, make sure to support Shihan Dan Gaudet, support anyone in Matsushima. You know, I just support Aikyo Matsushima, their dojos. It doesn't matter who, just support everybody that I mentioned. There's enough support. There's enough slices of pie to go around. Just support him, give him an ad, help get students in the dojo. You know, like we got to grow the community. So make sure to subscribe to the Drew Experience and support everyone that I've mentioned in the show, because we go farther together.
That's the way to do it.